I brought this up in a work session. Just wanted to bring it up again, see what council's thoughts are on it. Well, since I've been elected, I've been on the technology center. In fact, I got one of the folks. I got our middle school to come over there and have a class that's been involved in those kind of things. Been looking at the monies for that, and been looking at our monies overall, and our monies are getting less and less in our general account. You can just look at it. I've been on here 5 months. It just drops, it drops, it drops, it drops, it drops. And, you know, our state government's making budget cuts like crazy. We haven't cut anything. I've been studying this from July to September. That's a quarter of the year. We've sold $200 worth of computers. We're not going to sell anywhere near what our budgeted items were. It's just a reality. I'm all for helping citizens. I'm all for helping people. A lot of y'all can attest to that. But we have a lot of, aside from the way you cut your budget, you got to cut something. And we spend more than we take in. You got to do something. And assuming probably nobody wants to talk about payrolls and that kind of thing, a way you could do that to cut some losses real quick is to end the activity of the technology center. This year we're on track to spend $22,000 in this technology center. And it was a good idea, but at this time, since I'm on the committee for the technology center, I make a motion that we end all activity, rental, phones, and all other expenditures involved with the technology center.
Second the motion.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. And what do you propose we do with the lease?
I propose we look and do what we got to do to get out of it. Assuming even if you got to pay a penalty, it's not going to be a $22,000 penalty. I can guarantee you. I just think if we get out of it, we can put that money other places. You know, youth sports needs a roof, and we're scrambling to get the volunteers to do a roof. You know, youth sports was going to ask for $1,000 here, $1,000 there, and we, you know, fiddle around to try to get them some money, and we took it over, and we need to build a fund that. We need to build a fund everything, and something's got to give, guys. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
And something's got to give. You cannot spend more than you make. We don't have a contingency fund. We can't make any improvements if you don't have any kind of capital, and something's got to give. And I've looked at this thing for 5 months. It's something that could give. It'd be the least impactful to our overall administration of our city. It's the one thing you could take away that'd be the least impact. Although it has done some good things, I'll admit that. However, overall in your city, it'd save you some money and give you a little bit of cushion for the rest of the year. And I think if we're going to be good stewards of the money, I think it'd be good to follow this motion and cease the activity, to look at getting out of the rental. That's your phone lines, that's all the stuff, all that stuff that goes with it, that's under our
We got a motion and a second.
budget. So
We got a motion and a second. Okay, the lease was one of my concerns. And as far as the state cutting the budget, the aid to subdivision is what we get from the state, is that correct? LC was part of it. It normally goes up, but they're keeping it the same as 2008 already. So if that in itself is not going to hurt us as bad as we once thought. Correct me if I'm wrong, LC.
and that's good, but if nothing changes, the bottom line is we're still spending out more than we're taking in. And you can't keep doing that.
Well, we're not getting any benefit from it.
But I really don't think that's a good idea to stop all activity at the technology center. The technology center is being used, and Lower Savannah had classes. How often this month did they come down?
You have a personal interest in it now, so you have to recuse yourself.
What do you mean I have a personal interest?
You're the subcontractor.
That don't mean I have a personal interest in it. And I haven't done computers up there, and God knows how many months.
Well, we,
So it's,
according to our
it's,
financials, we paid somebody $400 for other professional services.
I think that might have been cleaning and
I
stuff.
don't know
And
what
I
that
gave
was.
it $25, I think.
I don't know what that was, it wasn't me, I hadn't got paid anything since last year sometime.
All right, we got a motion
But
and
I
a second
volunteered to
on
be
the,
up there.
we got a motion and a second on the floor. Anybody got anything else to say? about
Mr.
it?
Dunbar,
Yes, sir.
that lease that you're talking about on that building there, your city attorney can probably tell you that it probably ain't worth what the paper is written on.
I read the lease and it doesn't even have a
It probably ain't
thing,
worth
it
the paper
says,
is written on.
pay $1,200
Most
a
leases
month.
ain't.
It don't have a, how long you gotta do it, from what I can tell, and I'm not an attorney, but
You
I
read
read
pretty
it.
good, don't you?
I read.
What'd you say, the Holiday Inn Express?
Most leases ain't even worth the paper they're written on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or agreements.
Yeah, but I think at least that signed for 3 years.
It doesn't say, yeah, it says, I think it says 3 years, but it doesn't say anything other than, I'm like Kelly, it just says, do it for 3 years.
It doesn't say there's a penalty if you
No.
don't stay there for 3 years.
I had a lease with a man and I took it to my lawyer told me he said, spend your money, take him to court, all you're gonna do is lose your money.
Yeah.
You
We
can't
have
get
a
paid.
3-year lease, I think we should serve the 3 years out, and if it don't improve, then
Can I add to that, by taking down the technology center, are we looking into leasing, buying another building?
for what?
Like I said, can I finish talking?
Go ahead.
Once again, I'm inside the schoolhouses too. And I understand your point from the financial state of this, but I'm also thinking about the youth and the people of the state.
Part of that 1 cent sales tax says $200,000 goes to a library. I know the first thing everybody's gonna think is, oh, you can't build a library with $200,000.
Fix
But,
one up for that.
however, you can fix one up for that. You could also do some investment. We keep talking about long-term. If you started thinking in terms of a library, with your 1 cent sales tax money, or at least putting that money to it, and you'd have a wonderful place
Daniel?
for computers, that libraries, that Aiken County Public Library people pay a nice lady to be there all the time. That's one of the problems we've had with the technology center, is we don't have anybody who can be there all the time. And it just doesn't work out that way because we don't have funds to pay somebody to do it. However, libraries have people who, they pay swing ladies to be there. So,
Daniel, you put in $200,000 for the library, the county will match it.
that's right.
And they'll
They
give you
did
the
say that
body
at one
books and
point,
the shelf.
that, I was gonna get to that they did say they would put in $200,000. I don't know if that's for part of the building, I don't know if that's for part of the furnishing,
Either way.
but either way,
That's still 400.
it's involved with the technology center.
Okay, all right. All right, let's, any other conversation about that? All in favor of closing the technology center? All opposed?
He's called for it, Mayor.
I guess the voice of the people is not heard in here.
No, never.
The voice of the people is not heard, it's whoever's benefiting from the technology center.
Somebody's getting it.
Daniel had a motion to cease all activities in the technology center. Gene seconded. Call the vote. All in favor of shutting down the technology center? 3. All opposed?
You can't vote, Mayor, in that motion. Only they can vote. You only a tiebreaker.
If I'm not
You're voting
mistaken-
in tiebreaker.
Thank you.
So that.
That is correct, Dan.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Brown.
Well, if he can't vote, then Danny can't vote either because he's over the technology.
No, they can't vote.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
When I was over it, I wasn't about
Oh,
it.
I don't know.
Is it correct, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dillon?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, what he just said?
No.
Yes.
I have the same, it's a strong council week mayor. I have the same rights and privileges and authority as anybody else on council.